persons to think differently. All of us, at an individual level, how do we adapt to these changed circumstances? And we have adapted. We have now been constrained and confined to everybody wearing one of these face masks properly over our nose and chin. We have become accustomed to that term, physical and social distancing, to the point where many of us have become paranoid. If we go out somewhere, we want to ensure that the person in front of us is at least 6 feet away. The washing and sanitizing of our hands has become something that we have adapted and adopted. Everybody's walking around with a hand sanitizer and wanting to spray and sanitize everything. These are things that we have now adapted and adopted as part of going forward. But beyond that, there are other things that we must confront from a physical level, from an emotional level, from a mental level, from an economic and financial level, and most importantly from a spiritual level, that we can adapt and adopt so that these facets of our life that make us up as an entire person, an entire family unit, an entire Mandir, would also undergo the change that is required at this time. If I were to delve into each of these components, it would take us several hours or indeed several days to fully discuss it. So I will confine myself to the Mandir. In the Mandir, how have we adapted? Well, persons are no longer physically here. But our Pujari remains, and we are attentive and attendant to the fact that Bhagwan is here in the Mandir. And so the murtis are always adorned, the diya is always lit, the doors are always open. It is sad to see so many mandirs in our country where the doors are shut and there is absolutely no activity going on. And that is sad indeed. Because the mandir is more than just a physical building. It is a beacon of hope in a community. It is that beacon of light, it is that sanctuary which should provide that shelter and solace to all. And so the Mandir remains here. We have tried in our earnest, as I said, to continue with some regularity our services. So on a Sunday morning, Pandit Devendra, myself, in the company of Neela and others, would come within the context of having no more than 5 persons present and try to stream these services so that you, our beloved devotees, could still have that relationship with the Mandir, to provide that grounding that you become so accustomed to hear the wonderful chalisas being sung, the arati being sung, the brief pravachan that may provide some inspiration, the mantras being recited, all of those things that serve to strengthen, to bolster and to fortify us. But the Mandir is more than that. So we've continued in terms of trying to provide spiritual direction. So last Friday, for example, the Friday before, we had Saraswati Mata Puja being performed virtually so that our students who are writing the upcoming exams, they too can join in. And again, not an ideal setting, but it shows the need to and the capability of adapting and adopting different styles while remaining entrenched in our traditions. And that is important for us to remember, that while we may change because of time and circumstance, the essential truths remain the same. But what more can our Mandir do? And we've been trying with the assistance of certain grants that were obtained. So for example, the government gave out certain grants to various religious bodies. The Sanatana Dharma Mahasabha, the umbrella body under which we fall, was fortunate to receive grants, and we at the Mandir received certain hampers from them, and those hampers were given out. In addition to that, the Mandir from its own resources and its devotees and generosity have been giving out hampers as well in a very, again, inconspicuous manner. We are not advertising, we are not, branding ourselves in any way, but we are trying to target persons that we know are needy, persons that we know are deserving, persons who really need the help, and in whatever way that we can, we are reaching out that way, providing that sort of physical and financial support in terms of food, because we rely on your generosity to do those things, and we will, and we give the undertaking to continue to do so. The scenes and pictures of this past week were heart-wrenching. We saw the images of what took place at South Park, where you had persons lined up, hundreds and hundreds of persons lined up along the roadway in order to obtain a hamper, in order to obtain some food. Yesterday I saw images of a lawyer who with an organization was down in Pinal, and they themselves set up a food bank where they were offering vegetables and grocery items to persons who were in need. And they were doing that in a very wonderful way by contacting the NGOs, the churches, the masjids and the mandirs in that area, and asking them to identify persons who were in need. And then when those institutions identified those families, they were given a ticket and they went to those places and they were able to collect much needed food. The state is trying, but one wonders sometimes, and I say this without apology, whether politicians are really the best persons to be distributing hampers. Because take it, whether we like it or not, regardless of which party we are supportive of or none, if you are distributing hampers from your constituency office, then who's coming there? Your supporters. And what about the number of people that didn't support you? Are they not citizens of Trinidad and Tobago as well? Do they not deserve the same courtesy? And I've heard untold stories, too many of them to repeat, of persons who've gone to a constituency office and have been turned away because they are not known to the persons who staff that office. And why are you not known? Because I am not an overt supporter of your candidate or your member of parliament. And that's why I say unapologetically that politicians should not be in charge of distributing resources in that way. So what is the alternative? I want to suggest, and I stray a little bit, but I think it's important, that the schools which exist, and they do exist in every community of this Queen Island Republic, the principals of those schools are in the best position to identify families in those communities who are in need and who are needy. Why? Because they have relationships with their students and their families over several years. And they know who are the families that are in need. And therefore that is a resource that can be tapped into to identify and to distribute to the deserving in the community. Your NGOs and your churches, your masjids and your mandirs are also best poised to do that. And they will do so without fear or favor, affection or ill will, as politicians love to quote in Parliament. But this will genuinely be the case, because it will not be that a particular political support is coming. And what prompts me to say this is an image I saw this morning before coming to Mandir, of a very renowned, very talented violin player from the southern community. I will not call his name. This man has treated and entertained thousands and thousands of citizens of this country. A very talented violin player in different genres of music. And given the longevity of this pandemic and the shutdown and the fact that he cannot perform to earn an income, he is now constrained to going to gas stations where he would play his violin in the hope that customers who are buying gasoline would give him a small donation so he can buy himself food and sustain himself. And when I saw that, I thought, look at where we have come to in this country. So the Mandir is doing and will continue to do its part in this way. And therefore, we must continue to innovate. We must continue to think outside of the box as to how we can assist our community at the Krishna Mandir. And indeed, I challenge other mandirs and other institutions to do likewise. We cannot await the day when this pandemic is over because it's going to take too long. And by that time, if we do nothing, the damage will be irreparable. So financially, spiritually, we have been trying. Mentally and emotionally, there's so many of our brothers and sisters who are faced with mental anguish at this time. Distresses and the uncertainties and so on. How can we help? We are not trained as psychiatrists or psychologists, but we can collaborate with them as we've been doing to refer persons who need that kind of expert advice, and there's so many, so that they can get it. So that collaboration can take place. In addition to that, we need to ensure that we reach out in whatever way we can to speak to our brothers and sisters, each of us being an ambassador of that. Do we pick up the phone and call somebody and say, how are you going? How are things with you? We haven't been able to see each other for a long time, but I just thought about you and I wanted to know how you're doing. Have a little conversation, and that little conversation could go a long way. Now we have moved into the realm of these devices. So instead of calling on the phone, we are sending messages. Nothing is wrong with that. And if you find that to be your preferred method of communication, then use it to communicate in a positive way with persons. Instead of sending and forwarding messages that really are of little value, send a message of hope. Ask somebody, how are you doing? Sitaram, how are you doing? How are your family doing? Are you all okay? Is there anything I can do? And so we at the Mandir, each and every person who is a member of this Mandir, I challenge you to do that on a weekly basis. Find one or two persons at the very least and do that. Reach out to them and see how they're doing. Let us indeed be that family that reaches out and bridges those gaps that exist. Those are some of the thoughts and some of the things that we can do, because brothers and sisters, if we await the end of the pandemic and we await everybody to be vaccinated and we await all of the restrictions to be lifted, if we await that, in that intervening period, there will be so many persons who will become destitute, who will become lost, who will become so depressed that there may be little chance of recovery. So let us not await that time, but let us do what we can when we can. If you have a little extra, then without the need for fanfare, reach out to somebody in your community who may be in need and give that person a meal or some way in which to assist themselves. We must think not only now of providing a temporary fix. Hampers are good, yes. But we need to collaborate to find a way in which we can help people to help themselves. So that persons that we know who may have been or become unemployed, if you are an employer and you know that when you restart your business you need some sort of assistance and you need some sort of labor, then reach out to those persons, form that synergy and be able to uplift them. Teach persons various strategies so that they can redirect themselves. Share those kinds of messages so that, okay, I may have been engaged in this form of employment, that's no longer going to happen. I will switch and go and do something else. That is the kind of positive thought that we require in this environment, and it applies across the board. For all of us, we constantly need to re-engineer, we constantly need to re-innovate and try new things so that we can continue to progress in a positive way. And these are the messages that we would normally send around this time. So for the young persons writing exams, it's not ideal. You don't have many things to look forward to in terms of that normalcy. The gathering with your friends, that outing that you probably would have had to go see a movie or something after, or to share a meal together, will not happen. Okay, how can I address that in a positive way? Many persons, teenagers, like would go, I'm not having graduation. That may be true, but what else can be done? Look at things creatively so that you do not fall into that pit of despondency, but instead are able to find some positive way to deal with it. Bhagwan Krishna in speaking to Arjuna in 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, moved him from a position of utter despondency and despair. Throughout that conversation, coaxing, encouraging, inspiring, doing all of the things necessary to get him to that point where he recognized what he needed to do in this difficult circumstance and was inspired and prepared to do it. We are not Bhagwan Krishna. We are the Krishna Mandir. And let us try to do likewise so that we can inspire our brothers and sisters, not only of the Hindu persuasion, but all of our brothers and sisters, by our example, by what we not only say, but what we do to uplift others. Let us lift ourselves by ourselves and benefit not only ourselves, but each other as well. This is my message this morning, and as I conclude, I want to say a short prayer for the benefit of all our students who are writing the various examinations. As I said on Thursday, many of our students are writing the SEA exams. Some of our students have already started practicals and oral examinations for CSEC and CAPE. Many others still are now starting their written papers this upcoming week and going through July. We pray that Saraswati Mata bless you all abundantly, that you all be safe throughout the entire period that you are writing your exams, and safe not only medically, but safe emotionally. The blessings of the Divine Mother. This will be followed by a bhajan. That their intellect will be refined. They will have that perform to the best of their ability. Bless the parents, bless them as well. Of that assessment, it is at all times. We continue now this morning final kirtan, and after which we will have our closing prayer. May Bhagavan continue to bless us all as we celebrate this occasion for the anniversary of our Mandir. May we continue to bless this Mandir, to all of the members of the management committee, to all of the members of the Sri Seva Sabha. May Bhagavan continue to bless you all and your families, to all of the devotees, both young and old, who attend and subscribe to the Mandir and indeed consider ourselves part of the Mandir family. May we continue to grow together in strength. May we continue to be healthy. May we continue to be happy. May we all continue to be prosperous, and may we continue to innovate, especially at this time, so that we can do the things that we do, albeit differently, but allow for positive results and the upliftment of others. Let us dedicate and continue to recommit to the service of our community.
Share.
We join our hands together now as we conclude this morning. O Prabhu, we come before you as your children, seeking your blessing at all times, giving thanks to you for all that you have given to us. At this time, as we come before you with all humility and all sincerity, we pray for our children who are writing their examinations, that you bless them, that you inspire them, that you protect them. To all of the parents and all of the teachers, that you inspire and protect them and bless them as well. May you bless all of humanity, all of the persons at this time who feel overwhelmed. Provide them with that hope and that inspiration. Let us always recognize, O Prabhu, that you are within us at all times, and that you provide us with that direction, if we would only look. Let us join our palms together, brothers and sisters, as we pray this morning. Hari Om Sahana Bhaju Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavadahe Tejasvinavritamastu Ma Vidvishavahe Tvameva Mata Shabita Tvameva Tvameva Vandu Shaseka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Navadeva Deva Om Asatu Ma Sangamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorama Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से श्री गणेश भगवान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, इंद्राणी बिहारी लाल की जय, जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय, श्री भोलपुत्र हनुमान की जय। प्रेम से श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। सबको जय सीताराम, जय सीताराम, जय सीताराम। Brothers and sisters, devotees of God, this has been our satsang this morning. We are very happy that you could have joined with us. I understand there were still some technical problems. We continue to work on that to ensure that they are ironed out, and we will assiduously endeavor to have that rectified in the coming future. Nonetheless, we hope that in joining with us this morning, there was some measure of upliftment, some measure of positivity provided to you and your family. And we invite you all to let us all be our brother's keeper. In this upcoming week, whenever we feel down, let us turn to Bhagavan Krishna or any other form of God that we find endearing to us, and let us pray and seek the blessings. Let us continue to uplift others. When we can assist others, let us do our best to do that, and let us all try to maintain that level of positivity that is required. Remember, if you are able to get your vaccines, please do so. If you can encourage persons to get their vaccines, please do so. It is imperative. The vaccine will not stop the virus, but it will ensure that if you are to get it, that your chances of recovery are going to be great, the need for hospitalization will be less, and most importantly, that you have a very, very good chance of avoiding you succumbing to the virus. That is the importance of the vaccine. So brothers and sisters, this is our prayer, this is our blessing to you. A very powerful week ahead. We look forward to seeing you with us again next Sunday at 8:30.